Josephine Electric Ghost, and this is episode 83. And the title is The Sensual Euphoria of Josephine Electric, and the track Eye Candy. Eye Candy is kind of like the kitchen sink approach for Fam Electric Ghost. We use like pretty much everything in our workflow, and we decided to use, lately we've been exploring our VTO3 Roland Vocal Transformer and using the robotic setting in combination with like a soprano pitch and the format, plus some of the other capabilities, including the like the megaphone, and it's created this new type of voice for Josephine, and it gives her like a lot more power, and it gives her like a kind of monotone drone sound that we find useful. And we created a YouTube video for this, and we also created Instagram video clips in a full video on our Instagram, expansive underscore sound underscore experiments. And so when we say kitchen sink approach, this song is using an analog drum machine, the Moog DFAM, Drummer from Another Mother. It uses a variation of using one or two oscillators, so it shifts the tone from just like a kick drum or bass drum just doing a repetitive beat to a little bit more interesting rhythm section that comes in and out. We are also using the Moog Mother 32 being triggered by a Juno GI for the main melody. And then we're using our Juno, and we're using our System 1M from Roland to create the tones for this song. So there's a lot going on. And we are just, Josephine's kind of like showing people that, she's kind of being a little playful and indicating, she recognizes people are attracted to her, but she's kind of making fun of the fact that they're looking at her for her beauty, and she's being very sarcastic in the idea that she's eye candy. It's typically the type of sex romp that she does, and it represents her character. And she mentions that she's a dominatrix and she wants people on their knees, and it's becoming, pretty clear that that's her character. We've been diving into it lately, and the result has been, this series of tracks that have this feel. We in fact have created a playlist album on SoundCloud called Pain is Universal. And a lot of these tracks are on that collection. That we have been focusing on Dark Ghost this year, but we've done many other projects in between, because we're kind of in a heavy recording phase this year. We spent a lot of time using our new gear, which I mentioned. We got the drummer from Another Mother, which is a really awesome drum machine. It gives you a good analog feel to your music. It kind of cuts through the mix when we record. We got our 24-track Zoom digital recorder, which a lot of folks, they record using a DAW, but I prefer, digital recorders, because I used to use a 4-track Tascam back in the 80s, and I really like the feel of having a recorder right next to my synths and being able to just do my stream of consciousness recording and just be able to, overdub right at the instrument, kind of do what I feel at the moment. And the Zoom 24 track is an upgrade from the 16 track. The headroom, I think I talked about before, it has a lot more capability when you're doing vocals. It just sounds more clear. It just a wider, more organic sound. It records at 24-bit audio just like the 16, but it just seems to have a higher level of quality in the sound. And it's just the one concern is it doesn't seem to be backward compatible with the 16, so a lot of the stuff I did on 16 I can't edit on the 24, and that's kind of disappointing because I would have liked to be able to do that. But it has a drum machine that we haven't really utilized that much. We're looking into it. We did like one song with the drum machine that's on the 24, but we found it somewhat difficult to navigate with it, and we prefer actually, using the DFAM. The DFAM is limited to 8 steps, but like I said, you can play the filter, and if you're recording live into the 24, you can cause it to change beats as you're recording, and then some people take them and they stack them like 2 or 3, and then have the beats alternate by doing that. But then you got like an $1,800 drum machine. And the other thing that we do, which we've been doing for a long time, is use the Arturia Beatstep Pro to trigger the drum sets on the JDXI. And the JDXI has a lot of really good drum sets. It has different 808s, 727s, 909s, EDM and techno sets. It has a lot of sets that you can manipulate. And then the Arturia Beatstep Pro allows you to do a chain mode where you can take multiple patterns and chain them together. In this particular song, we didn't use the chain mode for the drums, but we used the chain mode for some atmospheric sounds that are going on in the track. We also used the roll effect on the Roland MX1 performance mixers. So when you hear that kind of drop portamento going down the scale, that's actually us triggering a roll on the MX1. And then you can select which tracks are affected by the MX1. So we have some tracks that are actually affected by that and some that aren't. And then we're using the guitars coming from the Roland Juno GI. We like the guitar sounds that we've gotten out of the Roland. We've thought of upgrading to a new Juno at some time. We've been looking at some of the newer Junos, but probably our biggest new poly synth would be probably the Prophet XL, or if we were on the budget, we probably would maybe go with the System 8, just because we love the Jupiter 8 and the 106 and some of the other plugins for that synth. It's a really awesome synth. It's got a lot of capability. But in terms of a synth that would replace the kind of sound library that we have on the Juno GI, you look at the Kronos, you look at, like a Mode 1 if you had an unlimited budget. Even the Prologue 16 is probably a good buy for the money. However, we've been leaning probably toward, a different solution where we might get a grandmother, which is not even a poly synth, and then maybe like a Roland Axe just for performance sake, and it has a lot of capability, though a lot of people have kind of been critical of guitars, but we've been using guitars that are based on, since they're on stands, and when you're doing performances, having a guitar, if you do it just for the lead, I think is an impressive way of doing it. And if you use it as a second keyboard, just put it on a stand and then pick it up when you want to do the lead. I think it's a good way of doing it, so you don't get what Anderson's calls T-Rex hands, which people can make fun of. But going back in the day, you look at a lot of new wave bands that use guitars. It's primarily like a single hand instrument. That's probably how you should use it to be. If you're trying to use it for performance sake and you want people to get into the vibe, you probably don't want to use both hands on it when it's strapped on. The other thing that we're very interested in is getting our OPZ, and we're really psyched that they have the first module for the internal add-ons is a CV module, which we're very excited to try to connect to our modes and our other analog gear and see how we could sequence the analog synths with that, because it's primarily a sequencer compared to the OP1, but it does have tones, and we're not sure how many sound engines are supported. We don't have it yet. We want to go into that and kind of dive into the sound engines, because we're going to be composing a lot of new material on it. Probably going to make an album just for it, and combine it with our other gear is the idea. That we would use the OPZ that combined with our other synths and use it to trigger things, and take our what we'd like to do is create samples for it using our morphogene. And we're not sure if you can just import samples into the OPZ if you don't have an OP1. I know there's an OP1 had a sampling protocol. Not sure if you could use, what you do on a morphogene and bring it in the same way. I would hope so. I'm not too clear on that. There's a lot of questions I had to Sweetwater on how this thing works. Some of them have been answered, like the CV integration. We know that's actually a module that you replace on the machine. And what's interesting, if you actually open up the OPZ based on a YouTube video, the current placeholder module for the internal external modifications actually has low phone arms that go into the external outputs to be able to put your phone on it, which I think is really cool. But it's weird that they haven't advertised that it has this inside of it, because you have to actually open it up, take it out, and then take the little plastic doohickeys out of the little module, and then they screw into the 2 ports on the external outputs. which is really cool. And I think is I'm kind of excited about this machine. It's just such a small machine. I mean, the OP1 looked like a toy. This even looks more of a toy. But it's very exciting that you have such a small, powerful synth that you could take to a show. And it's been a real problem for people like me who are hardware synth fanatics that, when you want to do a show and people have these shows where you only got 15 minutes to play, and if you got this big setup like we have, it kind of a lot of overhead to do a 15-minute show and to carry gear that takes an hour to set up. So we've been looking at, using the Arturia 6U in combination with like a OPZ, and then maybe for a keyboard using the Roland Axe synth as the keyboard. And I think that would be really cool. And the Axe has a really cool capability that you can have a USB loaded of a song and then play over it. So that would give you, kind of like what you do with a DAW without the computer. You could have your songs on the USB, play a lead over it, have some sequencing being kicked off on an OPZ, trigger in a Euro rack from the Arturia 6U, and it's all very portable. Don't need a roadie. Could do it in a small hatchback and drive to a gig and come back and not have like a big footprint or a lot of overhead for roadies. So we're very interested. We're going to get our OPZ. We're going to pay that off, and then we'll probably get the Roland Axe. And then probably get a Sennheimer new microphone. One of our microphones from them kind of burned out. We need to get a new one. And tonight we're supposed to interview Raya Ann, but we haven't heard from her. We don't know if she's under the weather, but she hasn't contacted us. So hopefully we can get that scheduled for tonight. And we're also looking at doing like a podcast infomercial for a website that's kind of like a competitor of Facebook. We're looking at doing that for Thursday this week, and that's interesting. And we're also looking for people to subscribe who are artists and want beats. We're selling beats for $1.99, $4.99, and $9.99. 99 cents one beat per month. If you subscribe for a year, $4.99, 5 beats per month. If you subscribe for a year, and $9.99 custom songwriting collaboration with a Skype or other social media conversation through like a conference call. So we would be able to work on a project with you and help you publish it. And we have different ways to publish that we can guarantee that your music would get onto a streaming platform with the collaboration. So get in touch with us. Favorite The Ghost. Fan like The Ghost on Anchor. Send us a voice memo. If you subscribe, we will see when you subscribe, but send us a voice memo on what you want to do. And we would need your email to be able to send files back and forth. And so we're hoping to talk to you, and everybody stay safe out there and keep on writing and playing.